Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Lionel, and I'm your host for LT Productions. You are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering Sistas. This is Season 8, Episode 5, I believe it is. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video and also subscribe to my channel. And you can leave your comments below. Without further ado, let's get into this video, or to this episode. Alright, so we start off where we left off. Gary's going into alert status after seeing Andy. Andy is outside right now waiting for somebody to say something to her. The doctor comes over and says, hey, he had a seizure and all that. We're trying to get him stable. And then Hudson comes around and says, oh, well, she cannot have any of this information because I am of a power of attorney. And Andy was like, of course I could do that. I'm his fiance, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And she's like, you've been to law school, and you know that a power of attorney is trump over that, and she is not allowed to have any of this information, or I will sue. So then the doctor said, okay, I will only tell you what's going on, Hudson. Good. So Hudson is really, really dogging out Andy. It's almost like he is a lover, or wannabe lover of Gary. The way he's obsessing over Gary and how he wants to disparage her. Andy is the worst thing that's ever happened in his life. Like, bruh, he has one ex-wife that's in jail or prison right now. He has other children out there. He just beat the child out of his other fiance that he just had. And Andy is the worst. What? Because she keeps winning and got the stuff that possibly that you wanted, as far as the lifestyle, the apartment, and all that good stuff. Like, you sound very jealous. You sound like you have my place and I'm gonna take it. Some people think that Hudson and Gary messed around. I don't think so. I think Hudson wants Gary. And he probably got articles of clothing of Gary. Like, Gary be sniffing other people's undergarments. You remember that last season? So it's quite interesting to see him unravel in this way. But basically says, leave. Gary doesn't want you around. We don't want you around. Blah, 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 blah. Andy does go off on him and all that. Can't treat me this way. Can't talk to me. Da, 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 da. What's the next scene? Oh, Karen. Pam. And this lady is going to sue. She wants $400K. Was it 400K or 400 million? 400K for damages to her hair. She brings in this mob of people that also have the same problem. Pam doesn't believe it is her stuff that has wrecked these people's hair, these ladies' hair, and all that good stuff. So that's kind of the gist of what's going on in that storyline. But we'll get back to a little bit more later on in the episode about that. Who do I want to go to next? Let's go on to Sabrina, Rich, Maurice, and that girl. That other girl, white girl. Rich comes by Sabrina's to surprise her. He says that he needs a loan, and hopefully he could get it. That Sabrina could get it for her. I think it was just some type of whatever. I don't know what. I don't think that he was really going to try to get any money out of her or whatever. But it was just a way to see her. They kiss and all that good stuff. And they start hearing this ruckus outside. But before we get there, Maurice, the pen that he has is dried up, and he sees the white girl's pen. Remember those feather pens? If you're from the 90s and you grew up in the 90s, if you watch Clueless, the pen with the feather, she calls it Miss Kesha or something like that, whatever. So they start fighting over this pen and all this good stuff. I don't know why Maurice does some of the things he does. It's not making any sense, and you just got your job back, and why are you acting a fool like this? Some things I think were warranted, and other things is like, bro, chill out. Thank God nobody's actually like complained on you for real, because you could have been out of a job. And Sabrina always has to clean up your messes, but you went on and confiscated her pens, stole it, and was using it, and then she asked for it back because it's hers. Then you start plucking out the feathers. There's a lot of funny stuff that you do say, but it's like, I didn't like how you were displaying yourself today in this episode, Maurice. as much as I'd love that you are the comedic relief for the show. What was I gonna say? Sabrina comes out, breaks all that stuff up, and Sabrina was like, "Why are you doing all this? Do you want to go back to doing the stuff that you were doing on the internet? Then stop it, blah 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 blah." Because he's trying to act like she started it. No, you started that. Stop that. So she goes back into the office with Rich. Rich wants to still wants to go out to lunch or whatever. She's like, it's a little bit too early for me to do that. Sorry, but rain check. Rich was a little bit upset about that. Whatever. Next, I don't know who called whom. But anyways, Danny and Sabrina get on the phone. Danny's like, well, I was trying to call my therapist, but I guess we are creating some type of boundaries or whatever. And Sabrina was like, what's going on? I can't really get to you right now, but Danny was like, come with me right now. Like, well, how many drinks have you had? Because you sound like you're drinking or whatever. Danny hangs up the phone. So Sabrina ends up leaving the office and joining Danny. Danny is very upset at Tony. She feels like Tony is trying to change her. First she talks about, I love sex that we have with Tony. They have sex 2 to 3 times a day, and it's even more on weekends. Sabrina thought just 2 or 3 times in a month was pretty good, or in a week or whatever. That's pretty good. But then found out how more excessive it is. But he's like, I don't really like that he wants to worry about my feelings. And Sabrina's like, isn't that a good thing for a man to do that? And she's like, no. And then he was giving me this, shoving this leadership stuff in my face. He's like, so he's trying to better you? And you have a problem with it? It's the approach, Sabrina. The package looks good, but he doesn't know how to present it right. And I didn't think of this beforehand as far as with Danny, but if the boyfriends that she did have that were speaking down to her, she likes who she is, at least what she thinks she's comfortable with. And now this man is saying that you need to grow and you need to change and all that. It's like the opposite of her, of thinking that it's positive and that it's actually negative. And she thinks that Tony thinks low of her. And it's the opposite. Tony still doesn't know how to approach her about the whole situation. Sabrina was like, well, do you think possibly you are lying to yourself and all that? It's like, Danny's still in the mode of, I love who I am. I love what I do. I don't think you do, Danny. I don't even think you have the slightest clue to the potential inside of you. I think you're comfortable here because nobody can, how can I say this? You've created a world, you've created this bubble for yourself to protect yourself from people. You're fine with where you're at. However, I'll say you're complacent instead of just you're fine where you're at, because you built this bubble around you. Nobody can tell you nothing, and I'm just who I am. So you've created this personality for yourself, and possibly I just can't believe that you actually just love just being a flight personnel, especially with the passion you have for crime. I hope Danny does do something in crime and go that way, some type of detective work or something, because you're really passionate about that, and people think that you're the dumb one. You felt low within the group. So this is a recurring thing that's happening with you, where you don't feel as adequate as how people will talk to you, aka Karen, or how people don't even take you serious. And that's of your fault, because of how you like to joke around with everything. That is part. So I'm loving the unpeeling and unpacking of Danny, because there's so much there. She even mentioned Cowboy Preston. I said, oh. People want Preston back, but does Preston deserve what Danny gives? Because Danny has not grown since she was with Preston. I don't know. She doesn't want to be rescued. I think that she just needs more time with her therapist and all of that, and to really seek the person that she is for real. Are you really cool with it, or are you just complacent? Nobody can really attack you for real in this bubble that you've set for yourself after all of the trauma and abuse that you've received over the years. So I think it's more deeper. It was kind of comedic like, but I love the character of Danny. And I think that Danny and Zach are quite similar, and that's probably why they really get along a lot. They don't have the same trauma, but a lot of commonalities with each other, and that's why they get along. Let's see. So Miss Marie stops by the office and speaks with Hayden. They go through their banter of stuff. It's so crazy. Miss Marie got a new wig that she can now shake. It's funny. Miss Marie wants Hayden to go over this business plan for Roots to Riches. And he's like, well, what are you getting involved in all of this, with this ghetto-fied, nappy-head stuff that's going on? That this product is or whatever. And she said, look, don't worry about that. I'm usually really on fire with whatever I do give out as far as whatever business ideas I have. She's a part of this music label or music group or whatever that has made her millions or billions or whatever. I said, okay, I didn't know that. But she's like, look, you are so rookie, and I could really teach you a lot and all this stuff in the boardroom and also the bedroom that would make you suck your thumb and go back to your mama. Like, oh my God, y'all. She also says that, look, you still have a job because of me. You should be thanking me. What do you mean? You think that you're here by your own grace? No, I saved your job. So, oh, okay. Thank you, Miss Marie. I think in a lot of ways, Miss Marie wants to knock off that ego and also give Hayden a pure confidence within himself at the same time. The ego is going to make you miss out on a lot of stuff because you're not willing to learn, because you think that you know it all. And I think in his profession, he's the numbers guy and all that. You think that you're really proficient and you think that you're all this and that. I can get that type of way of thinking that you are hot-ish, you know? But I keep listening to Miss Marie, and I think that there's a place or a level that Miss Marie would like to take Hayden to, but he's thinking too low and shallow. That's my opinion. Of course, after Miss Marie leaves, Fatima comes in, is like, what are you up to? And of course, Hayden does his same similar 1-2 with Fatima. They always bickering and stuff and She calls Zach, and Zach says, hey, you know, why don't you come home? And she's kind of like giving some of her frustrations. Come home. I've made my Zacos. They're creamy. It's tacos, and he calls them famous. And she's like, what? Okay, I'll come home. On the other end of town, Andy, she's crashing out. She's having all these visions. At first, seeing Gary kind of crash out as far as flat lighting and all that. She's like, it's my fault. But then she's in her apartment talking to herself. You are crashing out over a man. Get yourself together. She's having all these weird dreams or whatever. Jordan texts her and says that I'm on my way. And she's like, oh, so happy. But I think that she's in this vision or trance or dream or whatever. So Jordan shows up with Penelope. Penelope is in this rage and very upset. And Andy doesn't know where she's coming from. And all of a sudden, Penelope punches her. She's saying all these disparaging things, and she's asking for Jordan for backup, and he wouldn't. So it's like, okay, where's this Penelope at? You know, it's cool to see her because we haven't seen her in forever or ever on this show. So that's quite interesting to see. The only other thing is Miss Marie goes to Karen's salon and sees this mob of Roots and Riches. What was the saying? Destroys your edges or something like that. And she busts through the crowd to get to Karen and Pam. So what the hell is going on? That's the end of the episode. I don't know where this is going. Forgot. Before I end, Fatima goes home, tastes the tacos, and she's cool with it. Zach is a stay-at-home dad and allowing Fatima to work and all that. Some of y'all don't like that, but what if it was reversed and the woman had to stay home? at least he's doing stuff. He comes up to the job, getting snacks for her, cooking lunch. Come home. He's trying to be, I see, soft Zach. At least for a while. I'm sure Zach is going to get back out there. Now, he's quite different over here than he is on Zatima, because there's no way you can see Zach actually doing all of that. Now, he will make dinner, and he will cater to his woman. But as far as sitting at home and all that good stuff, nope. He ain't doing all that, So it's interesting to see Zach in this way. But they are still trying to figure out who's the one that is the culprit of stabbing Gary. So they put, what's his name? Is it Robert or Ruben? That dude. And also Miss Marie on the board as suspects. So it's interesting to see how this is going to end. If this is episode 5, I'm thinking sometime in December, there's probably going to be a mid-season break, or the finale, and possibly we will learn a little bit more of what's going on. But I appreciate this episode for Danny to kind of get an inside look into her, or at least the things that I think of. But you can give me your thoughts below in regards to all this. Marie's still a little bit better. I do love your banter and all that good stuff, but that was wrong of what you did. But give me your thoughts below. Thank you for coming to my channel. Like, subscribe, and until the next one, peace.